Thank you again. Thank you. Thank you.
And Vikrant, I just wanted to ask you, you're having a great year. And right from Mirzapur and Fail, and now Firai, Haseen Dilruba, and now this film. The diversity of your roles and the kind of films that you're selecting and the kind of parts that you're selecting, what's prompting that? Is that the hunger? What's prompting that?
I think it's a mix of a lot of things. The idea begins with representing the common man. The common man who is very easily overlooked. Whether it is 12th Fail or whether it is Sector 36. The idea is to go out there, represent the common man, but not necessarily the marginalized all the time, but the ones who are easily overlooked. And if you compare, both these films are poles apart. I'm sure you guys are going to be the first ones to see this. But the underlying theme remains the same, which is people from challenged socio-economic backgrounds who are easily overlooked. And that unfortunately has become our second nature. We are all so busy with our own lives, with the things that we are caught up with. You know, the ones who do not represent a particular socio-economic background. We don't consider them as a part of the world we live in. So the roles I pick, I also want them to challenge me. I don't always want them to be so intense, borderline morose. I also want to enjoy myself as an actor, want to keep challenging myself from time to time, but the underlying theme kind of remains the same.
No, that's very true. I mean, it's very easy to say that he's a demon, he's an animal, but we also have to examine ourselves and the society because everyone is a product of the community that we are in. I also wanted to ask you that you look completely transformed in Section 36. And even your wife mentioned on Instagram that she barely recognized you. And what was it seeing yourself in that look for the first time?
Honestly, when I woke up in the morning and Netflix, told me that we are going to share this today morning, they sent me the poster they had shortlisted. We tend to have, I'm sure you know, we tend to have a few shortlisted posters, and the one that you see behind was the one they chose. It took me a double look to recognize my own self because I shot this film last year. I almost forgot how I looked. But the icing on the cake was my wife, and that too after good 30-40 minutes. And I just happened to ask her, poster kaisa laga aapko? She's like, acha hai. Kaun hai? वो दीपक जी नहीं लग रहा, दीपक जी तो नहीं लग रहे, कौन है उस पोस्टर? I said, it's me. She was, half lying down, half asleep, and she actually woke up. It took a good 10 minutes, and she's like, wow. So that was one good validation. But Meetu, as I said, the idea is to go out there, do different things, to keep challenging myself as an actor. But what I look like here is the average Indian common man with a mustache, and hence, as I said, easily overlooked. Can sort of just blend into the crowd. But there's much more deeper than just the surface that you see. So, which I hope you guys enjoy while watching. Yeah.
Vikrant, without the film highlights the deep-seated social inequalities and how crime can flourish in these instances. How do you think this theme resonates with the audiences today, especially in the context of real-world issues and the world that we're living in?
I think modern cinema has also gotten very real, if I may say so. There is far more realism in the stories that we tell, especially in the last 10 years. I have always believed in one thing, which I don't unfortunately remember the name of the lady who said this, but I absolutely agree with her when she said that society and cinema go hand in hand. Society represents cinema and vice versa. Today, because of major platforms, giants like Netflix and many other platforms, I talk about Indian cinema, which also has so many different regional cinemas coming together. We are not just making films which are community specific, we are making films which are far more universal in nature. with a film like Sector 36, for example, the moment it comes out on September 13th, there'll be more than 192 countries watching, including Australia. So the theme now, more than ever, has become universal. And when you talk about the marginalized, when you talk about crime, and many other genres of storytelling, I think it is far more universal in nature today, and that's where the connect draws in with people. Even when you talk about statistics or data about viewership, people are far more glued to stuff which is far more real in nature, which censorship, unfortunately, maybe 8 years, 10 years down the line, did not allow us to bring to cinema halls. Now we're straight on your phones, on your laptops. So yeah, realism is something which is catching up with people, because people also enjoy watching it. But it's about time that we speak about things which would
circle. And without giving too much away, can you talk a bit about the intense cat and mouse dynamic between the two characters, Prem Singh and Ramcharan Pandey? And how did you prepare for such a compelling portrayal? And what was it like to work with Deepak?
It was phenomenal working with Deepak, sir. I've been a fan of him, like most of us are, I'm sure. We've all seen Tanu Veg Manu, we've all seen Omkara. I've also had the good chance to watch him perform on stage a couple of times, and working with him was almost like a masterclass for me. Though unfortunately we didn't have a lot of scenes together, whatever time I could find, I would just chew his brains out with regards to, how do you do this, how do you do that, what are the books you can recommend me, what are the things I should do as an actor. And coming back to the preparation, without giving away much, this was one of those very few films which sort of pushed me against the wall. It was very, very challenging. And I don't mean when I say this physically, I honestly didn't have to sort of transform physically. But mentally and emotionally, this film, it really pushed me against the wall. And once you see the film, you will understand why I said that. Coming from an average Indian family, coming from a mega city like Bombay, I've seen massive disparities, and we unfortunately continue to see that right in front of our face day in, day out. To represent that nonchalantly as an actor, because that's my job, without having a heavy heart, was such a big challenge. To play the part of Prem Singh, knowing the fact that this film is also inspired, by many true incidents. It's not just one true incident that we've picked up. It's you will understand when you watch the film. It was very challenging, but by the end of it, when we all sat down and we saw the film, besides people appreciating what I have done in the film, the subtext or the intent that we wanted to sort of bring out to the world through this film, in the first few preliminary screenings that we had in India, I think it reaches people. It stays with them. So that is a far bigger validation for me. But yeah, the movie is yours today. You guys are the first ones, as Neetu said. Please do not give out any spoilers. Do not record the movie and post it on Instagram. We worked very, very hard for it. And I'm sure everyone has subscribed for Netflix. And we have Netflix here. So they are listening to you very intently. Please enjoy the film. But I would also want to jump in and say something that I see a few kids here. And I would request the parents to sort of think about making your kids watch it on a very serious note, because viewer discretion is definitely needed for a film like this. I don't think this is an 18 plus certified film. I would request, as much as I would want you to fill the seats and sort of watch the movie, but I don't think you can watch the film with your kids in tandem. So really sorry. I think you should sort of think about it before the movie starts.
This is what I was telling a few parents earlier. It's a very dark film, a very dark but important film. And we have Umesh Chronicles playing in Cinema 1. So for parents who would like to go and watch that, and then their running time is pretty similar. You're more than welcome to come back here for the Q&A after with Vikrant. So I would urge you to do that if that's possible, because it's not an appropriate film at all. And you're more than welcome to watch Umesh Chronicles, which is just there, which is a